Okay, welcome back to the YouTube channel of Pro Enzo Vids, and this afternoon is my round 11 tips for the NRL for 2025. Look, another hopefully good round of footy ahead. Last week it was a very great round of football, one of the best rounds that I've seen in recent time, probably was the best that I've seen so far this year, but one of the best to, I guess, recall and remember for the right reasons. Bring on round 11. Should be a good round of footy. A lot of games to look forward to as always. In particular, I guess, my game on Saturday, Manly Cowboys. Now, in my vlog, at the end of the Manly Sharks vlog, I was saying that I potentially may not go to the game in Townsville, which now is the case. So, very unfortunate as once again, want to go to every Manly game possible. But I guess this one will be a miss on Saturday. So instead there'll be like a live stream, like YouTube live stream of me watching the game live, and you guys can all see my reactions to like the game while I'm watching. So tune in, and I'll set the live stream up during the week at some time. Bring on round 11, and here are my tips. So the week starts off with Friday night footy in Newcastle. Newcastle Knights versus the Parramatta Eels at McDonald Jones Stadium up there in Newcastle. So I believe on Thursday it's the Origin Women's game at Allianz. That's why there's no NRL on Thursday night. 6 p.m. Friday night game, Knights and Eels. Both these sides for me are very unpredictable. Like Parramatta have been in the worst of form, but I guess ever since Mitchell Moses has been back, they actually have been in games, like really fighting, I feel like, but the results have not been going their way. As for Newcastle, well, there's no excuses after what happened last week. They really should have beaten the Gold Coast side last Friday at their own home, like losing from 20-0 up. Like, that's not good enough. And, I'm sure Adam O'Brien will, want to get some wins soon, because his job's definitely on thin ice, I reckon. But anyway, let's see how both of these sides line up. So looking at the Newcastle Knights side first, Dane Gagai is set for his 300th NRL game, and he'll be in the back line alongside 20-year-old debutant Fletcher Hunt after Greg Marzio was ruled out with a knee injury. Leo Thompson will also miss the Friday game due to a head knock, with Tyson Frizzell shifting to the front row as a result, and Adam Elliott added to the starting side, Tom Cant to the bench, and Jack Hetherington has been listed as 18th man this week. So, not bad for Newcastle. Some interesting change. And as for the Parramatta Eels, Zach Lomax is set to make his return from a foot injury. So he'll be back for Parramatta in a big boost there. Bailey Simonson, who picked up a foot injury last weekend, he is out, which means, Lomax is right in for his position. And Jason Rolls has made one change to his forward pack, with Matt Dory starting in the side, with Charlie Geimer dropped to reserve grade, and Tony Matale, or Mataeli, however you say the last name, my bad. He makes his NRL debut off the bench for the Eels side. So there we go. My tip for this game, tough one. For some reason, I feel like the Eels might win. I know I backed Parramatta last week, and I feel stupid doing it because, don't back Para often, but Newcastle are not in a good state right now. Like, they're not. They beat a South Sydney side that was injury decimated, and they lost to a Gold Coast Titans side that I believe was worse than Newcastle before that game happened, being up 20-0. So I think, Parramatta have come close the last couple of weeks, but I feel like this will be the week where they finally get the result go their way. So I'll go Parramatta to win 1-12, but if they lose, I'm not tipping them again, put it that way. But first try scorer, give me Fletcher Sharp, and anytime try scorers, we're going to go with James Schiller, and for the Eels, Zach Lomax. Now, this one should be an absolute cracker at Accor Stadium, the Bulldogs versus the Roosters. Last year, when these two sides played, there were some great games, actually. I think the Bulldogs hammered the Roosters in the first half at Accor when it was pouring wet. That was a 6 p.m. Friday game in 2024. And they nearly blew that lead, but they held on just. That was an old boys night for the Dogs, I believe, that night there. And then they played in Gosford, and I think the Roosters had a big lead, but then Dogs nearly came back. So, yeah, a bit of a Uno reverse type of situations there in both games. But yeah, both of these sides are very different now, so we'll see which one comes out on top. But looking at the Bulldogs side first of all, one change only. James Salmon's out with an ankle injury, so that means Harry Hayes comes into the starting side with the debutant Luke Smith will make his debut off the bench for the Bulldogs. And for the Roosters, Lindsay Collins will have one game to prove his fitness for the Queensland State of Origin call-up after he was named on the interchange, and he hasn't played since round 5. So, yeah, we'll see if Collins does enough to get an Origin spot, which I think he will, but, yeah, we'll see if he's fit, I guess. And that's about it for the Roosters. I could see Roosters winning because their forward pack can definitely match the Dogs forward pack with who's out and whatever, but at the moment, it's very hard to deny the Bulldogs' class and the way they're going. They're flying. Canberra had a great lead against them at home, and the way Bulldogs came back was really impressive for me. It shows their character, and it shows just what their mental resilience is like, being under pressure. So, yeah, quite impressive by Serrato and the Dogs side. So, I'll back them to win on Friday. Let's go Dogs 1-12. I think it might be quite close. And first try scorer, going to go with Jacob Carraz. And anytime try scorers, I'm going to go with Matt Burton. I reckon Matt Burton might score. And for the Roosters, going to go with Billy Smith. But, yeah, I think Dogs win. Okay, moving on to Super Saturday now. The first game of 3, it is the Dolphins versus the Warriors at Suncorp Stadium. So, yeah, both these sides, I reckon... Well, look, they're actually quite similar, I believe, in terms of attack and the way they play a little bit. But the Warriors are second on the ladder for a reason. They're playing some good footy at the moment. Yes, they've won a lot of tight games and have been lucky in some results, I feel like. But you can't deny the Warriors this season have looked really, really sharp in attack, and they just play for each other, and they're really tight as a group, I reckon. And for the Dolphins, there was a time where I thought Dolphins were looking like a real threat for the top 4 one stage a couple of weeks ago, but just their inconsistency is killing them once again. So we'll see what Dolphins side we get on Saturday, I guess. But looking at both sides, for the Dolphins, no changes to the squad that beat the Eels last week. Ray Stone and Tom Gilbert have switched roles. Stone's to start at lock and Gilbert second row, and O'Sullivan 18th man. For the Warriors, the big boost for them is James Fisher-Harris, who's back for the side this week. So he returns from a pectoral injury and has been named to start at prop with Roger Tuivasa-Sheck named on the wing, but will be given every chance to prove his fitness for the game on Saturday. Bunty Afoa started at prop last week but drops out of the squad, while Jackson Ford has been ruled out after suffering a concussion in the victory over the Dragons last week. And Sam Healy is back for the Warriors on the bench. Okay. Now, my tip for this game should be a good game. Having the Fish back is a huge in for the Wires, I reckon. That's a very big in. I don't know. All right. I reckon the Warriors are due for a loss. I think the Warriors have been quite lucky the past few weeks, but like I said, they've been lucky about playing some great footy. But I think this weekend we'll see the Dolphins get the win, I reckon. There's a weird feeling that's telling me that the Dolphins will turn up and get the win here. Again, I'm worried about that because, we don't know what Finn's side will get. But I feel like 3 p.m. Saturday Arvo at Suncorp, I can see Hammer, Katoa, and Nicarima, all of them really combining for a lot of points on the same day. So I see this game being quite a high-scoring game, if being honest. Both these sides are a bit iffy in defense, but can attack really well. So I'll go Dolphins 1-12 in a high-scoring game. First try scorer, give me Herbie Farnworth. And anytime try scorers, I'm going to go with Jack Bostock, and for the Warriors, going to go with Leka Halasima. He's due this week, so I reckon the Dolphins win in a close one. Here we go, bring it on. Manly v Cowboys as the next game on Saturday at Queensland Country Bank Stadium up there in Townsville. Well, I'm looking forward to the game, Like, Shane won't be there because I'd love to go to Townsville yet again, enjoy my time there last year because we got the win in Townsville in a great way, but also just very beautiful place in Australia. But live streaming on Saturday will be also very good. But yeah, this one should be a good game actually. The one I'm looking forward to a lot. Yeah, back in round one, obviously a big win by us against the Cowboys at rookie. So I'm wary the Cowboys might, try and, sort of get some revenge from that result in round one. But at the same time, I'm really hoping the boys, can recover and just bounce back because they can do it, but it really depends if, they choose to, I guess. So we'll see how we go. But looking at both sides, for the Cowboys first. So been some interesting changes there by the Cowboys. So Jackson Purdue, who is actually a half, but been playing centre recently. He moves to 5'8", and Tom Dean goes to halfback. And Zach Labat will come in for Purdue in the centres, making his return to first grade for the first time since round 5 last year due to an ACL injury that he got last year. And Jake Clifford's the man to be making way at 18th man, so we'll see how that all goes. So for Manly, Jake Trbojevic has returned to his primary position, lock, even though I don't agree with that. I think Jake should be at prop. That's the best way we should use Jake from now on and make him play limited minutes, in my opinion. And yeah, Jazz Tavaga goes to hooker, which I don't really like either. Ethan Bullymore starts at prop, which I do like. And Calvin Navale, which I do like as well, goes onto the bench for Manly this week. And Simpkin goes to 14. So yeah, some changes I like and some I don't like. But we'll see how Manly go, I guess. But as for the tip, obviously backing Manly to win. I hope we do win. We never have lost at Townsville before, the new stadium anyway. So that's one positive for us right now. But look, if we lose, I wouldn't be shocked because Cowboys, were unlucky not to win last week and, it's their home. So if they do win, I wouldn't be shocked. But as a Manly fan, the only right thing you can do is back your team. So I'll do that. So I'll go Manly to win 1-12. First try scorer, let's go with Jason Saab. Anytime try scorers, going with Jeremiah Nanai for the Cowboys. And for Manly, going with Ruffy, Luke Brooks for a try. But yeah, I think Manly and Cowboys should be a cracker. Bring it on. Go Manly. And speaking about crackers, well, how about this one? Sharks versus Storm at Shark Park, closing out the Super Saturday. What a great game this is. Whether it's a grand final, finals games, or in general, big games against each other in Melbourne or Cronulla, these two sides have a very small rivalry building, I reckon. And it might already be a rivalry right now, but it's definitely a game that has hatred between both sides, put it that way. So I'm looking forward to it, actually. Sharks beat my boys last week, and the Storm absolutely killed the Tigers in Melbourne last week, winning 64-0. So, yeah, awesome game to wrap off Super Saturday. Looking at both sides for the Sharks. So Talakai returns for the Sharks on the bench, replacing Tom Hazelton, who is out with a shoulder injury on the bench. Teague Wilson is still out with a chance of coming back from a shoulder injury, so he might be a chance of playing. But Teague Wilson is very close to coming back very soon for that Sharks team. And Oregon Kafusi returns to the starting side at prop with Hazelton out. For the Storm, Harry Grant has been listed among the reserves as he looks to return from a hamstring injury very soon. And one change to that Storm team only. Tui Kamika named on the bench with Nelson going back to reserves. Interesting. I thought Nelson would keep his spot over Tui, actually, but I guess Craig has his reasons why he's done that move. But yeah, my tip for this game, going to go with Storm to win. I think Sharks are a good chance of winning as well. They could cause an upset type of game here, but the Storm for me are definitely the team to look out for. Pappenhausen is in incredible form right now. Munster Hughes, two of the best combos in the comp as a halves pairing. Yeah, look, I think a Storm win here. I'll go Storm 13+. First try scorer, let's go with Xavier Coates. And anytime try scorers, we're going to go with KL Ero. And for the Storm, have to back him, Ryan Pappenhausen. On to Sunday footy now. First game of three this time, so a bit weird to see 3 games on Sunday, but with it being Origin Women's on Thursday, that's the reason why it's like how it is. But first game at 2 p.m, Broncos versus Dragons at Suncorp Stadium. So, yeah, the Broncos have been in ordinary form so far. Definitely could be doing a lot better. But yeah, back at Suncorp on Sunday, we'll see how they go against the Dragons, who I think are another team who's pretty desperate to get a win very soon, as they have been quite ordinary themselves. So yeah, we'll see how both these sides go. I guess should be a very close game, I reckon. Anyway, yeah, look, some big changes for both sides actually. So let's get into it right now. As for the Broncos to start off with, well, shouldn't even be playing. But the biggest change is that Ezra Mann's back at 5'8", to start this game. With Ben Hunt out with an injury, so pretty timely return for Mann to start 6. Xavier Willison named in the back row and Brendan Piakura on the bench. However, they could switch on game day as they did last week. And for the Dragons, a shoulder injury to Toby Couchman has seen Jack DeBellin come into the starting side, with Blake Laurie, the new face, on the bench. Dylan Egan has made his return to the starting back row side, and Luciano Leilua on the bench this week. And but they could switch sides or positions like they did last week against the Warriors again. But yeah, my tip for this game, I think Broncos should win. If they lose, then what the hell, because I don't know what the Broncos are doing at this point. They do lose at home yet again. But I think, yeah, the Dragons are desperate, but I think the Broncos have more talent and more attack in their team. So I'll back the Broncos to win. I'll go Bronx to win 1-12. First try scorer, going to go with Dean Mariner. And anytime try scorers, let's go with Billy Walters, a hooker. And for the Dragons, going to go with Val Holmes for a try. Alrighty, next up, Raiders versus the Gold Coast Titans at GIO Stadium in Canberra. These two sides played not too long ago, actually, only last month, where Gold Coast were actually leading, but dropped their lead to the Raiders, who won pretty well in the end. But yeah, we'll see what the result is this time around, I guess. But last week, Canberra, they dropped the big lead against the Bulldogs at home, so they'll be fuming about that one, looking for some revenge and just some, I guess, payback for the faithful to restore some faith yet again. As for the Gold Coast Titans, incredible comeback, actually, to win against the Knights. That's their biggest comeback, apparently, ever, being 20-0 down. So I'm sure Gold Coast and Des will be relieved with that one. But yeah, looking at both sides, for the Raiders, Zach Hosking has shifted to the second row this week, with Matty Nicholson, who's out for 12 weeks with a broken leg and a lower leg injury. So that's terrible for Matty Nicholson. He's been in gun form so far this year, coming from the Super League. From being an unknown Englishman to being now one of the most informed back rowers in the game, and probably one of the best signings of the year so far. Such a shame. Big shame there for Matty Nicholson. Hopefully a good recovery ahead. So Corey Horsburgh is also back from a head knock injury, so he'll make his way into that Raiders team, playing off the bench. No, starting a prop. Okay, well, that's the right call there by Ricky. And that's about it for Canberra so far. For the Titans, big in there. Kieran Foran's back for the Gold Coast side off the bench as jersey 14. So we'll see what kind of value he brings from the bench. Jamin Jolliffe will make his return from a suspension. Foran died, excuse the cut there, but as I was saying, Isaac Fa'asua-Malawi, Tino's brother, he is the guy that will be unavailable this week due to concussion. And Arama Howe is the other man to drop out of the 17. And Philip Sami goes from centre to the wing, and Jojo Fafita moving to the centres for this game. Look, my tip for this one, going with the Raiders. I think Canberra will bounce back at home and try and recover from the embarrassment of last week against the Bulldogs. So I've got Canberra 13+. First try scorer, give me Xavier Savage, and anytime try scorers, I'm going to pick Hudson Young. And for the Gold Coast, he's very much due off Lofiana Khan-Pereira for a try. And last game to wrap off round 11, it's at Campbelltown Sports Stadium. It is the West Tigers and the Rabbitohs. Well, when these two sides played at Campbelltown last year, It was some weird game. Like, obviously, Tigers were in bad form, not winning any games until that game where they won in a very close game. But yeah, that controversial forward pass from Murray to Davey Moali that got called back for a no try, that was very controversial. I think it was forward, but man, it was a really close one to tell, like a bit too close to tell. So, but Tigers, having a better year, but that loss to the Storm last week was horrible. But I like what Benji said in his press conference, that they can't dwell on it too much. They're going to move on and get back home and playing some good, refreshing footy yet again, and really start this week with a fresh attitude, which I think is appropriate after the way they played on Sunday. As for South Sydney, well, I backed them. I backed them last Friday against the Broncos, winning in that upset game. LaShawn Mitchell, what a player. I'm sure if he has a big game on Sunday, he'll 100% get a spot for the Blues, I think. So yeah, we'll see how this one goes. Actually, could go either way, to be honest. For the Tigers, their team consists of Stafford Toa, nearly returning from an injury, which I really miss. I think Toa in the centres. Charlie Staines has kept his place on the wing. Brent Naden has gone to to the bench as the forward aim for some reason. A knee injury to Fanua Pole sees Royce Hunt move to prop, Jack Bird on the bench, and Talon De Silva going to the reserves this week. As for the Rabbitohs, Alex Johnson is back for the Rabbitohs side, which is a big in on the wing there from a hamstring injury. Fletcher Myers is the guy to make way for AJ, and Josh Schuster has again been listed on the reserves list, so I hope Shuey gets a game very soon for South Sydney. My tip for this game, yeah, it's a tough one actually, because I think both sides can win, but won't be much in it. I'll back Rabbitohs. I think I have more confidence in South Sydney to win, but if Tigers win, I will not be shocked at all, just because, it's at Campbelltown and they do play quite well in front of the fans there. But I think South Sydney, through Humphreys, Latrell, who were very influential in their win last week, I think Souths get the job done in a close one. I'm thinking like a score of 24-18 or something. So 1-12 win. First try scorer, going with AJ to score a try in his return. For the Tigers, anytime try scorer there. Going to go with Samuel Afenu for a try. And for the Rabbitohs, going with Campbell Graham to score as well. But I think Souths win in a close game. But that right there was my round 11 tips for the week ahead. Guys, I do apologise if my voice was a bit all over the shop at some points of trying to pronounce things or whatever, because with it being winter right now, it's definitely affected my throat a bit. So, apologise about any things I said that weren't too clear. It's just, this season's really getting to me. But thank you for watching either way. Make sure to, again, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and help my goal of 5,500 happen very soon. And, bring on round 11, baby.